Welcome to the Biscuit Book Club on Joy 620 WRJZ, featuring Marcy and Shelley. Today, conversation will build you up in the faith and encourage you to do what God has called you to do. Brought to you by Simplify Hauling. And now, let's go to the studio with Marcy.
Welcome to the Biscuit Book Club, y'all. We're serving up stories with Southern charm. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Marcy, and we are so excited today to be in the studio together because that's not something that's ever happened before. This is our second time we've ever been in the studio together.
Yes.
But I love it.
And we are, normally I'm in Alaska, but I got to spend 2 weeks in Tennessee with family and friends.
Yep.
And got to see Marcy, and I'm so excited to be here.
And then I brought in biscuits today.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Shelley, somebody that I don't think that I can come in if I don't bring baked goods now.
Yeah.
They know that I'm coming in. They're like, ooh, what do you have for us today?
She has spoiled the studio staff.
That's okay. They're so worth it. They're always on it. I love coming in, and I love bringing stuff. So today I brought biscuits and homemade jams.
And brought me gluten-free because I can't do gluten anymore. I had to give up gluten. It's been rough. So to have a biscuit is a treat.
So, and were those okay?
So good. Oh, my goodness.
Or was it just the homemade jam?
Both, but the biscuits, I could eat them without jam. They have just like the perfect amount of salt even.
Huh. Okay. Well,
so good.
I'm going to put that in our show notes just now that we're talking about it and everybody's mouths are watering for that. So
yeah, because really gluten-free baking is hard. And to get a biscuit to turn out,
yeah,
I definitely want that recipe.
They're made with love. That's what it is. that's the key. That's the key ingredient. So it's love. You know what? Anytime you come, I will totally make you biscuits.
Thank you.
That's perfect. I have loved learning more about Knoxville. Like, you're from this area.
Yes. And
you moved.
Mm-hmm.
I just moved to this area a couple years ago. And one of the things that John and I are involved with is something called NoxCam, Knoxville Christian Arts Ministry. It's almost like musical theater. Mm-hmm. And there's 80 of us from 25 different churches. And the gal who puts it together, Jill Lagerberg, out of Cedar Springs Presbyterian Church, she creates a script with music and orchestra and handbells and dancers. And last year we did it on Saul's conversion. This year we are doing it on Paul and Silas and meeting Lydia, and also the conversion of the jailer. And so in order for me to get ready for that, I was able to come across one of Angela Hunt's books that I absolutely love. She writes a lot about different women in the Bible. She writes children's books and then books for adults. And then also she has a whole line of books. And one of them is on Lydia. And, I mean, we've talked about this before. I'm not a huge fiction reader because I'm more of a newspaper article girl. But I love how she weaves the stories together and puts you right in there. Like, I would have never thought about being in the setting of Lydia during that time period. Mm-hmm. What have you read of her?
Yeah, I've read Esther, and I can't remember the others, but we've read her in our book club. And like you said, it just puts you right into the story. And I love her books, and the covers are so beautiful. I think she's with Bethany House. But she has written like over 150 books.
Yeah, I think 165 the last time I counted.
Wow.
So that was a lot. And then she's got another one coming out October 7th. Yeah. So that's in less than a month. It's Rescued Heart, the Story of Sarah. Mm-hmm. And I'm seriously thinking about going ahead and pre-ordering that. You can either get it at your local bookstore or you can get it online, but definitely think about pre-ordering it because you're not going to want to miss that.
Yeah.
That's a great one. You know, and the other thing I love about her, if you go to her website, Angela Hunt's website, you see that she is also an artist. I mean, I think that's the other thing that creatives have to always be creating. That helps to fuel their imagination. And
she has also written books for writers. And I love those. I have all of those. There's one like the Skeleton Draft, I think, and Weasel Words. Those of us who have all those words in there that don't need to be in there, the sentence is fine without it. I love all those little books she's written to writers as well.
Well, you know what? Why don't we give her a call and see if she's home? Because
Yes.
I just want to know how she came up with some of these ideas in the settings.
Call.
I wonder if she needs somebody to come over and bake biscuits. She's doing research.
I think she would love that.
Hello?
Hi, Angela. Welcome to the Biscuit Book Club.
Oh, good morning. Thank
This is
you.
Shelley.
And Marcy, and we were just talking about how much we have loved your books and how it really has helped to set the tone for learning about women of the Bible. I think sometimes you just glance over them. You read it. Sometimes there's stories that you've read over and over and over again, but just the depth of research that you've put into it and the care. And I would have to say the color. And after seeing your art pieces, I can see why your writing is so colorful, because your world is so colorful. So,
Yes.
Oh, that's very kind. My art is just kind of a hobby. I just get in there and fling paint around. But you know, creative people got to create in one way or another. So it's fun.
yeah. Well, and I just love too how well you set the scenes. So when you have, how many books about the women of the Bible have you written?
Oh, wow. You know, I don't think I've ever counted them up, but I know I did several in the Old Testament, and then I kind of got on this chronological kick, and I wrote about the intertestamental period. There's 4 books in there. Because mainly I wanted to write them because I didn't know anything about it. So it covered Cleopatra and the Maccabees and King Herod and his sister Salome. She was the point of view character. Oh, and the Salome Alexandra, who was actually queen of Jerusalem for 9 years in that period. And the Jews say that she was the best ruler ever, that, you know, the melons were the size of watermelons. Well, they didn't say watermelons. I don't think they had watermelons. But anyway, it was a great time of prosperity. She was really interesting.
That is, so when did you start publishing? And was that a dream you always had? Or Shelley has been working on her fiction project. I'm more of a nonfiction person that kind of fell into it. But it seems like everybody has a different journey and how the Lord sets them on the path of writing. So can you share with us a little bit about how you started writing, and was that always something you thought you would be doing? And if not, what did you think you would be when you grew up?
No, I never wanted to be a writer. I was always a reader, but see, my grandmother sang, my mother sang, and I sort of inherited the family vocal cords, and so everybody thought I would be a singer, and I actually auditioned for and got a part with this 10-person a cappella group that traveled the country in the 70s, and I'm dating myself here. And but anyway, long story short, one night we had an all-night drive through northeastern Colorado, and we got stranded in a blizzard for 4 days and 4 nights. And, of course, we all kept journals on the road, and so we all wrote about the experience in our journals. And then after we came off the road, our director, who had not been with us, he read all of our journals. And on another all-night drive, as he was driving and I was in the front seat, and he said, well, Angie, what do you want to do when you come off the road? And I said, I guess I'll go back, finish college, and maybe teach music, because being on the road full-time had taught me that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life on the road full-time. And he said, you know, I read your journal, and you have a way with words. You ought to think about being a writer. You should be a writer. And because I believe that God speaks to us through the voices of our spiritual authorities, I took that for what it was, and I said, okay. So when I went back to college, I changed my major to English and just started taking English classes and graduated college still without a clear idea of what I would do, you know. But I thought, given my history, that I might write plays for churches and then go to the church and choreograph it and direct the play and the music and all that sort of thing. But so I started in nonfiction. I finally just said, okay, if I'm ever going to be a writer, I just need to start. So I was writing magazine articles and catalog copy, really anything anybody would pay me to write. And after 5 years of that, because I only worked in the afternoons, my kids were little. And so I would work during their nap time. But I saw an ad about a contest published by Abingdon Press for unpublished children's picture book writers. And I thought, well, I'm an unpublished any kind of book writer. So I went to the library and got a book on how to write children's picture books.
Wow.
Because, you know, there's a formula for everything. So I wrote the book, and lo and behold, it won, and the prize was publication. So that's really how I started writing books.
Wow. What was the name of that first book?
Oh, it's called If I Had Long, Long Hair.
Oh, my gosh. That is such an incredible story. Like, just to think about, you know, I didn't even know. I just said yes and just took that next step and thought, well, I don't know anything about writing children's books, but I can go to the library. And I think that's a big thing. Like, just take that next step. You don't have to be whatever it is. You just take the next step towards whatever that is.
That's right. You just walk in obedience. I mean, over the years I've been writing, I've written collaborative books. I did some ghost writing before I became convinced it really wasn't very honest. And magazine articles, fiction, nonfiction, every genre practically. And for me, it's not about, oh, I'm a XYZ kind of writer. I think a writer can write anything as long as you understand how to use the tools and you understand the requirements of certain genres, fiction versus nonfiction, a romance versus a spy novel, you know.
Right.
And a lot of people make it really mystical and mysterious, but no, it's not. This is how you do it. Follow the rules, follow the principles, and walk through the doors that God opens. Really simple.
I write a lot for Guideposts, and I help people with their stories. And I tell people, I said, it's your ingredients, but it's their recipe.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. That's how that works.
So, and then, I mean, as authors, Shelley and I know we have heard a lot of like, hey, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. And as I was looking through all of the books that you've written, I'm like, this is a woman who doesn't really stay in the lane. She doesn't even stay in the pool. So, but I think that that's something to be said, is that we tend to want to put ourselves in these boxes, but we don't give room for God to say, actually, I have something else for you to write.
Yeah,
and so when we can partner with God on whatever project, you know, it might not be in the lane, but it might be in his will. And I'm willing to stay in his will versus even if it's out of my lane.
Yes, because you can miss out on so much. Look at all the books we would have missed out on Angela writing had she stayed in a certain lane.
Yeah, she could have had, like, If I Had Short Hair could have been the sequel to the...
Oh, don't make me laugh. I'll start coughing. I'm getting over a cold. But exactly. And if you're interested in lots of different things, you want to write about all those different things. So,
Yeah, and I think that is one of the things that I just jotted down was the art of curiosity. And I know that Shelley and I have talked about just imagination being something that is we fear for the next generation being on the decline. However, curiosity and just feeding that curiosity, I think, is what really fuels the writer. And I love the fact that, you know, like you said, I didn't know much about it, so I thought I would dive in, and then this is what I found out. So I think when we are excited, I don't know who said it, but no tears in the writer's eyes, no tears in the reader's eyes.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
And what do you? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, a writer should be a lifelong learner because I used to have this painted on my wall. You write to discover what you know, or you write to discover, yeah, it was up on my wall for years and now I can't remember. We write to discover who we are was the gist of it. And, yeah, I think we really do.
Yeah, gets to the depths of us. Yeah. Well,
Right.
with all the books you've written, I would love to know, like, where do you go? Like, how do you get inspired for a whole new book or a whole new genre? Or
Well, it usually does start with curiosity. I'll hear about a topic or a person, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to learn what that was like. And even somebody, like right now, I'm finishing up a series on the matriarchs. Sarah comes out next month. Rebecca, I think, comes out next spring or next fall. And the one I'm working on now is Leah and Rachel. So we know the bare bones of their story from Scripture. But what was it really like to watch your husband go into a different bedroom with your sister every night? I mean, what would you feel during all that? And when I sit down and really start plotting out the timelines and I see how many years they were in this situation or whatever, my eyes are really open to, oh my goodness, it's really a lot different than I ever thought. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just fascinating to me.
Well, and I think of that story too with when he goes back to see Esau, his brother, and his brother's coming, and Jacob is kind of nervous about this because they didn't leave on the best of terms, and so then I mean for Leah and Rachel to have it be like, okay, so hey, we guys, you and your offspring up to the front, like I mean it still was a never-ending conflict, even with all those kids. And I was thinking, I told my husband, I'm like, yeah, how would it be if you had mancubines? Like if the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, bring in the mancubine.
Yeah.
Yeah, put him in the front. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I was just working on that scene a couple of days ago, and if you will recall, the night before, Jacob had been up all night wrestling with Adonai in flesh.
Yes.
Is how he would have thought of him. And he had a limp, and his hip joint had been torn out of its socket. So not only could he not fight his brother, because Esau was coming with 400 warriors, and all Jacob had were some servants and his family and a bunch of cows and sheep and camels. But not only did he not have an army, he couldn't even stand up straight. He was in so much pain. Yeah. So, it was really, he had to depend on God like he never had before.
Yeah. I just love it. I love it when I read something and just think of, wow, what were you? And I think that's the thing. What subject was, like for me, I loved history growing up because I loved the thinking of all those stories woven together. What was your favorite subject when you were growing up and going through school, besides music? I mean, that was a big one.
Yeah, probably music, of course, but English. I really loved English. I was always strong in English and science because of the curiosity factor. I always wanted to know, why does this animal reproduce this way, that kind of thing. But math, we don't even want to talk about numbers or math.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My brain just does not work that way.
Yeah, I know. I've sometimes thought maybe I've had a stroke when I'm having to do numbers.
Yeah.
So, and then are you teaching at a writers' conference anytime soon?
Well, I just came back from doing an almost all-day thing at ACFW. We went from 8 to 3, so that was pretty intense. And in October, I'll be keynoting at the Florida Christian Writers Conference.
Oh, I would love to go to that one. I mean, I have been on the West Coast for so much of my life, But now that I'm here in Knoxville, it's like, I think I can branch out on the other coast.
Yeah.
So I would love to
be
go
easier to get there now.
Yeah, the Florida one I've heard great things about.
Yes.
Shelley
It is very good.
Shelley and I
I've been there before.
Have you been to the Blue Ridge as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the other one I really want to go to.
Yeah, we want to go to that one.
And
that was good, too, and beautiful. The area is just beautiful.
We were talking about how our connections with writers has been so important to help support each other and encourage each other, because even if you have written one book or 165 like yourself, writing can sometimes be a little lonely, and sometimes, the other day I was a little frustrated with some stuff that I was working through, some manuscript stuff, and I told John, look, pull over. And he's like, what? I said, it looks like Waffle House has applications, accepting applications. I'm going to quit writing. And he's like, no, we're not. How do you speak to the friendship of writers and the value of having each other to hold each other up? And actually that would also be true for just womanhood, like you're researching all these women in the Bible and how they needed each other during those times.
Oh, absolutely. My writer friends are my closest friends because they understand me better than anybody else. And it's partly because we share the same temperament. We face the same challenges, but we also have the same frustrations. And so we spend a lot of time emailing and, commiserating together on the Internet. And I'm just so grateful for the technology that allows us to do that. When I started writing, I had to go to the library and check out books to find information. And now I just, click a few keys and boom, 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 it's there. And I never met any other writers. I went to a couple of writers' conferences and didn't know us all there. But now, thanks to technology, I can go and know almost everybody there. So it's a great and troubling and challenging time that we live in. But I think the gift of communication has never been more important.
I agree. Yeah, and for those of you who just tuned in, we are talking with Angela Hunt. She has written over 160 books, and we're talking about just the importance of having other writers in our life. And I love your classes. We just have a few minutes left, but I want to talk about how you have just poured into other writers, and you've written some books on how to write. And just what advice would you give a new writer just starting out or just thinking about it? With the market today and all the rejection, what's some advice you would give us?
Well, this is a very good time to start writing because there are so many avenues to get published. But the one caveat I would warn people about is do not rush and self-publish. Another piece of advice I would give is write small things first. For 5 years, I wrote articles and catalog copy, like I said, and I was getting feedback. When you write an article, you hear back from the editor, and if it's not working, you don't get paid. But today, people are writing blindly, so to speak, or they may even go to critique groups. But if nobody there has been published, it's kind of like the blind leading the blind, and they self-publish these books that are not really where they should be as far as quality, so they don't sell many. And then if you ever wanted to be traditionally published, that's going to come back to haunt you because a publisher looks at how many copies that sold, not many, and that works against you. So it is much better to write small things, get experience, get feedback, and improve your craft.
Yes. If you're a novelist, start out with a short story.
Yes, absolutely. Write a short story, get it published, write some articles, nonfiction with fiction techniques. so
Yeah.
that we can see that person you're interviewing, and we can hear the dog barking in the background. You know, easy things like that.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, have y'all heard my rooster crowing during this?
No.
I was hoping that didn't bleed through.
No.
No.
You have chickens and roosters. How many do you have?
I'm taking the fifth.
Love it.
Oh.
I'm a victim of chicken math. You know, you get two and think you're going to get two more, and then they lay eggs and you hatch and you bring the grandkids over and you say, look, and the next thing you know, you've got 4 coops full of chickens.
Well, we know what you already talked to us about math, so we'll let that one go.
Yeah.
We don't like math.
We'll just say you don't like being cooped up.
That's right. My goodness, I can't count them all.
Well, I just want to remind people that Angie Hunt has been with us. She's got a brand new book coming out, Rescued Heart, The Story of Sarah. It's coming out on October 7th, but please go ahead and pre-order it. If you go to a bookstore, have them order it, or go to your library and ask them to order it so that other people can share it around too. That's a great, sometimes people forget about that, but having somebody go in and ask the library if they would order it keeps it on the shelf so that other people might get to discover you. So October 7th, I'm so excited about that. Rescued Heart, The Story of Sarah. Thank you so much, Angie. And yes, I have loved reading the stories, and I've loved visiting and hearing about how the Lord has opened the door for writing in your life.
Yeah.
So until next time, we're just really excited, Shelley and I, to be here at the Biscuit Book Club.
Yeah.
We just want to ask you to join us next week.
Thank you. And until then, keep reading and keep it cozy, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's Biscuit Book Club with Marcy and Shelley. Be listening next week at the same time for great encouragement and a challenge for what God has for your life on the Biscuit Book Club on Joy 620 WRJZ.